Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is July the 30th, 2026. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, well, we'll get to that. Hopefully you've had a good Thursday. Sorry I missed you for Wednesday. Some things came up, but we'll get into it. Actually, yeah, we can just go ahead and just do a quick recap and then catch up on the day. It's been very kinetic. But Wednesday, we got up, got ourselves together. We got to work. Work was overall solid. I think I left maybe like 20 minutes early or something like that. Then post work, we went to the gym. Pretty good gym session. And then after that, we came home and I skipped the stretch to my memory. Had a snack. Then got myself together and I actually headed to see my beautiful, wonderful girlfriend. Yeah, because she is heading out of town. She's actually en route on her destination right now. So wanted to spend the night and hang out since we're going to be able to hang out this weekend. So that was nice. That was sweet. We watched some Abbott Elementary and chilled. She made a wonderful dinner. She made us some steaks with some Brussels sprouts and a baked potato with bacon and cheese and sour cream, which is very yummy. And let's see, just had a good, nice night. Then this morning got up, headed to work. So yeah, now we're talking Thursday, and I've kind of mentioned previous episodes, especially recently, that things, medically have been kind of taking a bit of a turn or a bit ratcheting up. I'm not feeling too hot. So I went back to like my chart thing and I sent a message, to the previous doctor I had, and let him know I'm like, hey, my symptoms I think are getting worse. Is there anything I can do, like, to kind of expedite this process or, is there any other solution? Like I was kind of pawing at the door about it and they didn't get back to me yesterday. And I was like, okay, damn, that sucks. And then I called today because I kind of thought I might have missed a call or something like that. And it's like, no, you didn't miss a call. They haven't gotten back to you yet. I was like, okay, all right. And so as I'm going through the day, I do wind up getting a call and they say, hey, we're actually going to expedite part of this process. You're going to go and do a thing tomorrow, which I was like, oh, okay. So, I went to go set that up. Turns out that's going to be like $300 for this whole part of it. And I'm like, what? I'm like, with insurance? Like, yeah, with insurance, that's going to be what you're going to be paying. I'm like, oh my God. So, love that. Thank you. Thank you, America. Very nice. But not just that. So I'm like, okay, not feeling too great. And after I have a coffee, I just have like a flare up again. I just like, it is like a flashback to how I was feeling like about a month ago. So that was a really bad sign. That was a bad red flag for me. And I kind of just do my best to collect myself. It's pretty slow at this point of the day. And I just go up to my supervisor. I'm like, hey, can I get out of here? Like, can I go? And they're like, yeah. And so, I get out. And instead of going to the gym, I'm just so out of sorts. I wind up going home. And I'm kind of glad I did take the time to kind of collect myself because I realized I had misinterpreted some things in one of the phone calls. So I had to like call and set something up. So I did that. That's when I got the news. I was like, oh, I'm paying a lot of money that I don't have. Oh my God. And I'm kind of like scrambling, going back and forth between insurance to more or less tell me the bad news in a nice way. And then I'm like, okay, all right, that's what we're dealing with right now. That's the situation. And after collecting myself, obviously I'm still very frazzled. I'm still not in the best of shape. But the routine is routine. It's kind of one of the few things over these past months, or especially as of late, that like help. And obviously they don't help in the physical sense necessarily, but maybe in the mental, so I can kind of lock into something else for a bit, and then you're kind of not thinking about the pain, not feeling the pain in that way. I don't know, but I'm committed to the bit, so we go to the gym, and overall, I keep it really light. Some Smith machine work, but it felt pretty good, so that was nice. And then just do a little bit extra bullshit and do some cardio, and I get back home. So haven't stretched over the past couple days, but we're just kind of trying to chill. Like I said, I do have an appointment, but this isn't going to be an appointment that's going to like really go into any kind of diagnosis or any kind of treatment. It's just like, hey, we're doing this to expedite the process for when you see your doctor next week. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, I really wish I could, like, make this, snap my fingers, make it happen now, or like, because what is this person? I don't know. I'm getting in the weeds, and we're just blogging about my fucking precious little life. But it is frustrating. I definitely have found myself kind of chasing my tail about this, like in this medical quandary. Um, but hopefully we are on the road to figuring this out, and then hopefully that will lead to a road, to recovery, because your boy needs it. Like, I realize like this has been like a months long thing, and like going into August, and then we're gonna be a month out from my birthday, and I really just don't want to be feeling like this for my birthday. Like, I know it sounds really dumb and shallow and stupid, but like, man, it's a bad marker, bad indicator. Um, but anyway, I don't know. That's where my life is. That's where we're at. Medical stuff aside, I know that it was a good day. I know that it was a solid day. It's been good. But I realized that this has just been, a whole spike on my mind, and really hoping that, I'm on the path here. But anyway, let's do our startup and let's get into some news. We definitely have some things to update on, talk about, yap about. But yeah, let's go into our startup and let's get into that news. Oh shit. Ooh. All right. Our first story is from The Guardian. Father of U.S. teen school shooter sentenced to 15 years for providing gun. The father of a teenage student who killed 2 teachers and 2 classmates in a Georgia high school shooting 2 years ago was sentenced on Thursday to 15 years in prison for providing his son with the weapon used in the attack. Colin Gray's offenses, the judge Nicholas Prim said during the sentencing hearing in Winder, were crimes of negligence, tethered to the tragedy committed by his son, Clayton, who was 14 when he entered the Appalachian High School on September 4th, 2024, and opened fire. So yeah, this is a story we touched on the other day. I kind of said like, oh, we're gonna be done with it, but I figured, hey, let's just come back and at least touch on the sentencing for the father. So yeah, we have Colton, the son, who is now 16, is gonna be in life in prison without parole, and then his father is gonna be getting 15 years for giving him the weapon, as a little Christmas gift, like, hey, here you go. And, once again, really not checking on, not, really keeping up with your son, and, seeing that, hey, this is a person who is idealizing, school shooters and shit, mass shooters. So, very unfortunate story for sure, but we have talked about it a good amount. So I just wanted to just kind of start with that update. Let's move on to our next story. Another update, actually. From the Associated Press, Seattle police chief resigns under pressure from mayor over response to festival shooting. Seattle's police chief has resigned amid criticism of the city's response to a fatal shootout at a food festival last weekend, Mayor Katie Wilson said Thursday. The announcement followed hours of speculation about whether Police Chief Sean Barnes would step down, as some of his supporters said he had rebuffed Wilson's request that he resign. Wilson said she was appointing Deputy Chief Andre Sales, a law enforcement veteran with more than 2 decades of experience as interim chief. Barnes told the Seattle Times earlier Thursday that whether he remained as chief was up to the mayor. He said he was off for the day and spending time with family. In a written statement, the mayor said she was grateful for Barnes' service. The statement included comments in which Barnes called it an honor to have served the city. Let's see here. Skipping ahead a little bit. Barnes was out of town at a law enforcement conference when gunfire erupted last weekend at the Bite of Seattle, an annual 3-day festival that draws hundreds of food and retail vendors and performers. 3 people, including one suspect, were killed and 4 people were wounded. One of the injured was a 2-year-old boy. Dozens of officers were at the event, and at least one saw a 15-year-old suspect firing into a crowd and quickly persuaded him to surrender, according to court documents. Police are still searching for at least one other person. Both the Seattle Police Department and Wilson have faced criticism for slow and confusing communication in the shooting's aftermath. After an initial social media post announcing that there had been a shooting with multiple victims, it took nearly 5 hours for police to provide any additional information to the public, including whether there was any ongoing threat. In the meantime, Wilson announced that 2 people had been taken into custody, a statement she later retracted. Let's see here. It's also worth noting that Barnes was the second black police chief in Seattle. Then we go into some yada yada, a little bit of details here, in terms of like some black organizations, trying to rally to save Barnes's job, yada yada yada. I mean, you could definitely say in the situation that the mayor was on thin ice. Apparently, this was like a Democratic socialist mayor elected, which I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty interesting there. But they initially had said, hey, I know I had said defund the police. I'm changing that shit up now. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry, whatever. And they're like, actually, like the olive branch was keeping this guy around. But I don't know. This feels like a tale of 2 glass ceilings, maybe being too spicy in saying that. And also let me add the caveat that this is not me trying to defend any kind of police job or anything like that. But I will say it seems to be that there's a pattern that if you are a person of color, if you are a woman and you are in this position, you are more likely to lose your job. At the first big shooting that, like, let's face it, in America, this is just a dime a dozen behavior. I hate to say that, but that is just what the stakes are. And then the next thing you know, your job's gone. But let's say I hate to say it, I don't know, I'm just kind of I'm shooting balls and strikes here, just shooting from the hip. You're just a default white cop, Rex McBanger, whatever. I don't know. I know that's crazy. That's a crazy ass name. Sometimes you do get a good sheriff name. I'll say that much. But anyway, you're Chuck McDougal, and you're good. You can tank a couple of these. The city will rally behind you. They'll let you, get tough on crime, so to speak. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we still don't really have any updates in terms of, I believe, the missing shooter, because there was a third. But yeah, it looks like this, what is this? This, Sean Brown, Barnes. I'm sure I'm getting that wrong there. Yeah, Barnes, my bad. It looks like, it's happy trails for them. But yeah, that's the update we have. And then, like I said, there's more details that go into like some of his quote unquote faux pas of, going on vacation like too much or whatever. He's at too many of these conferences. I'm like, this sounds like cop behavior. Like this sounds like, a person of this stature and job would be able to do that. And like, if this hadn't happened, then everything would be fine. I don't know. Anyway, neither here nor there. Let's move on. We got to talk some politics. We got to talk some new jobs. So, some people are getting fired, some people are getting hired. Let's see, from NBC News. Senate confirms Clayton as new director of intelligence. The Senate approved President Donald Trump's choice to oversee the country's spy agencies, with the Republican majority voting Tuesday to install top federal prosecutor Jay Clayton as the next director of national intelligence. Clayton, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York in Manhattan, will inherit a much smaller agency after his predecessors cut the office's workforce in a series of firings in recent weeks and months. And his confirmation follows accusations from Democratic lawmakers and former national security officials that the Trump White House has tried to use the intelligence agencies to wage partisan political war. The vote was 51-47 along party lines. Trump praised Clayton after the vote, writing on social media, "Jay is outstanding in every way and will do a spectacular job as director." After Clayton was confirmed, Senator Mark Warner, Democrat from Virginia, I was about to say Vancouver, my dumbass. The Intelligence Committee's vice chairman explained why he voted against the nomination in a statement that expressed hope that Clayton would not cave to possible political. Like, this is bullshit. Like, you cannot believe that. That's a little horse shit, and you know it. You know what the score is. Stop acting dumb. I'm not reading this. Oh, I know this guy for years. This bullshit. This is why you don't see anything get done. Because at the end of the day, these guys are ready to reach across the aisle and glad hand these people who don't give a fuck about you and your rights. They don't give a shit. But he's a nice guy. I know this guy. I love the cut of his jib. He's a good guy. We both get our shit lobbied to death, man. He's a good dude. Trust me. Trust. He's actually gonna be a guy who say, "Hey, Trump, maybe not." I bet he will. Like, bullshit, man. Come on. Anyway, let me get out of this fluffer section. Hours earlier, the acting chief, Bill Pulte, announced on social media what he called a fifth round of job cuts at the office of the Director of National Intelligence since he took office in June. But he did not say how many positions were cut or how many employees were fired or merely reassigned to other intelligence agencies. Pulte described the move as approximately 30% staff reduction from weeks ago. So, I mean, this is kind of what they were doing in phase one in terms of just like the constant downsizing with the Doge shit or whatever. Bill Pulte is cut of that same cloth, and like he knows that like this is a thing that Trump wants, is to like see these agencies like just literally eat themselves, much like the Department of Education or whatever, and really just run on skin and bones, and to be very compliant to whatever the fuck he wants. So obviously Bill Pulte was that, maybe the worst case scenario. Obviously, we miss you, Tulsi, I guess. Once again, talking about that fucking glass ceiling situation. But no, I mean, this really does feel like three types of grifters. And maybe you could say that this Clayton guy is the Goldilocks of them all, but these are all poison pills. These are all bad guys to me. So obviously not rooting for any of them. But these are the updates. So there you go. Consider yourself caught up on that. But yeah, we have a little bit of a part two. So we're talking people firing, we're talking people getting hired. Now we're going to talk about people who are kind of their jobs in a bit limbo here. They're going to have to keep that interim on the title, maybe. From NBC News. Trump threatens to pull Todd Blanche's AG nomination after GOP holdouts leave office. President Donald Trump on Thursday threatened to withdraw Todd Blanche's nomination to be Attorney General until two Republican senators who have expressed concerns about Blanche leave office in January. I have no objection to I'm dumb. I have no objection to temporarily withdrawing Todd's name if they do not do the right thing and putting him back after Corwin and Tills are out of office, he said on Truth Social. The Senate's Judiciary Committee postponed a vote to advance Blanche's nomination over objections from Senator John Corwin of Texas and Tom Tillis of North Carolina. A single Republican no vote would mean the nomination fails to advance, which would be embarrassing for the Trump admin. It would be embarrassing in a political sense for the Republican Party going into midterms. So it's a bit tactful. I'll give Trump his flowers here to be like, yeah, if we can just hold on that, he's just interim. He can still do whatever the fuck he wants. He's still going to do my bidding. So like, whatever. I can just wait you guys out. You guys are literally dead money. I've already have your replacements. They're coming in the mail come next year. So like, whatever. Let's see. Responding to Trump's post, Corwin said on X that the president is mistaken if he believes concerns about the provisions in his tax lawsuit settlement are limited to me and Senator Tillis. Yeah, but the problem is, man, once you guys are gone and your replacements who are going to immediately say yes to whatever the fuck Trump is going to lob their way, like everyone's going to go back to the tide, at least with the party, I think. But that being said, if they don't have the numbers, that's a different story. But then we're going to see how the midterms go there. Anyway, Tillis slammed Trump's proposal as politically tone deaf, run that back, about as politically tone deaf a posture as I have seen in this administration. Let's see here. So yeah, I mean, they really didn't want to let that 1776 like anti-weaponization bill thing go. Blanche was a big part of that, and even though Blanche had said, "Hey, we stopped that; it's not continuing anymore," he's like, "Okay, that's really cool." Like these two guys are like, "That's really cool," but we kind of need it in writing. Like you don't have it anywhere in writing, do you? And he's like, "Well, it's not needed. I've said it. It's in transcripts. Like this administration is not going to go forward with this bill." But he's very tactful about about how he's saying it, and I think that's obviously for a reason. You can rev this shit up again if, Trump really wants to, if, once things kind of cool down. So essentially, these two guys are saying, yeah, if that's the case, man, this is a bad bill. Like, this is a bad thing. You can't even just let this lie. And not to mention the immunity for past stuff for all of these people that are mentioned in it. That's not okay. We don't like that. Like, that's a problem. So they're right to, ring the alarm about this shit. But I also think Trump's right in saying, well, I can just wait you losers out. So, okay. Um, so yeah, there you go. I finished it out a little bit Isaiah's way there. Yeah, we can go ahead and move on. Let's close it out. We gotta talk about a fucking Joker here. But yeah, let's go ahead, take our last break, and we'll close it out with some Jared Leto news. Ugh. Whew. All right. Now we're pulling this from IGN. Could have went with a classic BBC, but I got paywalled a little bit there, and I was like, "Fuck it, let's just use IGN. Who cares?" Anyway, the Joker, Morbius, and Skeletor actor Jared Leto accused of criminal sexual conduct by four women. I don't know why they led with like the ticker tape of his fucking sloppy floppy movies. But yeah, let's start here. Four women have accused Hollywood actor Jared Leto of criminal sexual conduct, the BBC has reported. The women alleged that the offenses took place when they were teenagers, during a period between 2002 and 2016, when Leto, now 54, was in his 30s and 40s. Leto, who played the Joker in Zack Snyder's defunct DC Extended Universe, or the DCEU, Morbius in Sony's defunct Spider-Man universe, and most recently Skeletor in this year's box office flop, Masters of the Universe, is the focus of a BBC documentary called Jared Leto, Hollywood's Dark Secret, which features the testimony of 10 women, 9 of whom have shared their stories publicly for the first time. The BBC said that they were unable to get a response from Leto despite multiple attempts. Last year, 9 women accused Leto of sexual impropriety. He denied all of the allegations. And there's an update that they have here. Hollywood actor Jared Leto has formally denied claims that he sexually assaulted a number of women, as detailed by the alleged victims in a new BBC documentary. I've never sexually assaulted anyone in my entire life, a representative for the Star said in a statement to Variety. These claims are absolutely and categorically false. Okay, so yeah, this is one of those pop flies that you've been waiting for, someone, for, reality to society to catch, whatever, and a lot of people are saying, like, yeah, water is wet, like, oh yeah, no shit. It's like, this has been a known thing to a lot of people. I know that I didn't catch on to this until I was listening to TrueAnon. I know it's a podcast I reference a lot. I often shout that out because it's a really great fucking podcast. But they have done at least one, maybe at least two, like, pretty big breakdowns on all the shit that Jared Leto's done. So a lot of these, accusations, even though they're like kind of a first to like maybe mainstream media, I have been hearing about that. There's been like many a whisper. And but yet at the same time, you just see this guy getting roll after roll after roll. Like, I'm seeing this motherfucker in the new Tron or whatever, and I'm like, what the fuck? To me, like, I remember being like really hype when that trailer started because I was waiting. I've been like, like, I liked the new version that they had came out with, and I was like, man, if they ever come out with a new one, that would be sick. And I'm like, okay, you're not gonna have the same cast from there. That's fine, whatever. I wonder where the new cast is gonna be. And I was like interested, and I see Jared Leto pop his fucking head. I'm like, no, why are you here? I maintain that he's one of the stinkier aspects of the Blade Runner. Glad they're making a new Blade Runner. I think it's a miniseries. Hell yeah. But it's like, why does this guy keep popping up? Like this guy's a fucking problem. He's got fucking gations. What the fuck? So I am glad in that regard that people have spoken out, and that there are potentially going to be some kind of ramifications here. You know, I don't know. I don't want to predict or speculate on any fucking thing, but yeah, I heard this hit the fan the other day, and I was like, all right, let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, as you can tell, not a big Jared Leto fan. What can I say? It was like the more I learned, the less I liked the motherfucking guy. I mean, I will say this. That one dumbass fucking song, because you know he's in a fucking band too. He does it all. That song's fun, I guess, until like you let it linger too long, and then like you try to listen to another one of their songs. Fuck 30 Seconds to Mars. Fuck his weird ass cult ass not a cult experience thing, whatever. Like that's other reasons too. Is like he became so obnoxious as well. So it's like you are a sexual deviant and you are also annoying. Like this is terrible. You're just a fucking bad guy. So crappy guy alert. And that's really where we're gonna close it out for today. Yeah, that's it. That's the episode. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. Roll call's coming up soon, so go ahead and get on there. I can, you know, shout you out, plug a project if you like. You know, we do that once a month. But free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is always caring. All the stars are appreciated. We love that. But if you don't do any of that, that's A-okay. I just appreciate you listening. I know lately I've been talking a lot about my vague medical problems, if you will, but I appreciate you listening to that and then some. You're a real peach, you're a real plum. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.